Well, again, Mr. Butts is here today to be sentenced for 6 different cases today. Mr. Butts entered guilty pleas on all 6 of his cases, and there's sentence agreements negotiated on each one of the 6 files. Of course, it goes without saying that the offenses that Mr. Butts is here to be sentenced on are of the most serious nature. Mr. Butts has a criminal history dating back to 1997. He spent time in Michigan Department of Corrections previously for a criminal sexual conduct conviction following a plea he entered in 2005. Noteworthy that he was paroled sometime in 2012 and almost immediately returned to his criminal behaviors upon being paroled. And Mr. Butts, I hope that you have truly listened to all of the people who spoke here in open court and the impact that your inexcusable and horrendous behaviors have had on the lives of so many people. Mr. Butts, you're going to have many years to sit and dwell on your horrible actions. And it's often noted that justice is blind, but eventually, Mr. Butts, justice sees everything. As noted by both sides, these 6 cases are very complex with a lot of moving parts, and I know that the prosecutor's office and the defense team spent a lot of hours working on resolutions to these 6 matters, and I wanted to thank them for their efforts. I'm also hopeful that although the court could never make the victims of any of these crimes truly whole again, hopeful that the lengthy prison sentence being imposed today is going to bring about some needed closure for all of the victims and their families so that they can begin the healing process. So I'll go case by case, Mr. Butts. I'm going to start with file 25000-21801FH. And Mr. Butts, for the offense of homicide, murder in the 2nd degree of Isaiah Harris, the court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement 35 to 60 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Annette Harris or any family members of Isaiah Harris. It's either directly through yourself or through any other third party. That includes all forms of social media as well. You're not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. I have to assess $130 with the crime victim's assessment on that file, and I have to assess $68 state cost on that file as well. As a term and condition of that sentence agreement, you're also to make a truthful statement regarding the location of the body of Ms. Harris. With regard to court costs and attorney's fees, I'll address that at the end once I've completed all of the files. Moving next into file 24002-23601FH. Mr. Butts, for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the 2nd degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older, the court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You are going to be required to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your agent. You are going to be required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all requirements of that act. You must provide a completed copy of the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration form to your field agent on your first in-person report following vacating your residence. Any address change, address verification, or change in your status with an institution of higher education. At each address change or verification period, you must present your Michigan driver's license or operator's license or personal identification card to the field agent at your first in-person contact. On that file, you're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Michaela, Mikayla Jackson, or any of her family members, either directly or through any other third party, again, including all forms of social media, not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, I'm required to assess $130 to the crime victim's rights assessment and the $68 state cost. It's also required that there's lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750520N. Again, I'll address court costs and attorney's fees at the end. Moving now to file number 24006232001FC. Mr. Butts, for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the 2nd degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older, the court will sentence you 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're going to be required to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your field agent. You're going to be required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all the requirements of the Act. Provide a copy of the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Form to your field agent on your first in-person report following vacating your residence, any address change, address verification, or change in your status with an institution of higher education. At each address change or verification period, you must present your driver's license or state identification card to the agent of your first in-person contact. Again, you're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Paris Bryant or her family members. It's either directly through yourself or through any third party. You're not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, I'm assessing $130 for the crime victims assessment and $68 for the state costs. Again, he's going to have to comply with lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750.520N. All right, moving into file 25000241001FH, again for the offense of criminal sexual conduct, second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. The court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your agent. Again, you're required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all requirements of the Act, which have been stated here previously on the record. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with AHLECHE, Dinwiddie, DINWIDDIE, or her family members, either directly through yourself or through any other third party. Not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. Again, assessing $130 for the crime victims assessment, $68 for the state costs. Again, there's mandatory lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to 750.520N. Moving into file 25004478001FH for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree, person 13 through 15. The court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement of 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to comply or complete, sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your field agent. Again, you'll be required to register as under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act. Terms and conditions have been noted on the record previously. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Jaylyn, Jayelynn, White, common spelling, or her family, either directly or through any other third party. Again, you're not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, assessing $130 for the crime victims assessment and $68 for the state costs. Additionally, you're to submit to HIV testing and complete counseling associated with HIV and AIDS, and you're to waive confidentiality and allow test results and medical information obtained from that test to be released to the court. And lastly, with regard to file 25006461101FC for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. Again, consistent with the sentence agreement, the court will sentence you to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your agent. Again, you're going to be required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all requirements of the Act, which has been stated previously on the record. You are not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Janiyah, J-A-N-I-Y-A-H, Butts, or her family, either directly or through any other third party. You're not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. Crime victims assessment, I'm going to assess the amount of $130 and state costs in the amount of $68. Again, lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750.520N. So defense has requested waiver of fees regarding court costs and attorney's fees. Do people have a position?
No position, leave it in the court's discretion.
All right, considering the lengthy prison sentence that the court is going to impose and the possibility of restitution being an issue, the court will waive court costs and attorney's fees, considering Mr. Butts is going to be spending foreseeable future in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, jail credit. Let's talk about jail credit. All right. Jail credit on file ending, file 24223601. Mr. Butts will receive jail credit of 707 days. Jail credit on docket 24623201. He will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket number 25021801 will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket 2500241101 will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket 254478 will receive jail credit of 255 days. And lastly, docket 256461101 will receive jail credit of 167 days to his respective Michigan Department of Corrections sentences, noting that the terms and conditions of this agreement are that all of those sentences are to run concurrently. All right. Attorneys, before I get to appellate rights, turn it over to you, Mr. McPeace.
Thank you, Judge. Just for the record, on the file ending in 218, second-degree murder conviction, I know I placed this on the record last time, but all terms of that plea agreement have been satisfied.
Yes, thank you. All right. And Mr. Makepeace, were there counts being dismissed?
Oh. Yes. Ms. A.K. Ripley is more than prepared.
Very good. Ms. Ripley, if you could just kindly articulate, you can just do the last four of the respective file number with regard to the counts that are being dismissed consistent with the agreement.
Yes, Judge. Under case 2236, people are dismissing counts 2, 3, and 4 and withdrawing the habitual offender fourth offense notice. Under case 6232, people are agreeing to dismiss counts 1 and 3 and withdrawing the notice to enhance habitual offender fourth offense notice. On case ending in 0218, people are moving to dismiss counts 2, 3, and 4 and the notice to enhance habitual fourth offender notice. As to docket number 0241, people are moving to dismiss counts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and withdrawing notice to enhance habitual fourth offense notice. And docket number 4478, people are moving to dismiss count 2 and withdrawing notice to enhance sentence habitual offender fourth offense notice. And finally, in docket number 6461, people are moving to dismiss counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And hold on, that one's not right, Judge.
What file are you looking at, Ms. Ripley?
6461. I have it right here. Yeah, it's count 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. He pled to count 3 and withdraw the habitual offender fourth offense notice.
That was it, correct?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. To defense, I presume no objection.
No, that is
All right, those counts and enhancements will be dismissed and or withdrawn consistent with the agreements. Mr. Butts, you do have some appellate rights in counsel. Has he been afforded with an appellate rights form?
He has been to assign.
And did we give him an appellate rights form for each one of his files?
Yes.
Great. All right, for purposes of the record, Mr. Butts, because you entered pleas with regard to your 6 cases, you would have 42 days to file an application requesting leave to appeal your various convictions and sentences if you wanted to do that. Mr. Butts, if you wanted an attorney to assist you with those applications and you could not afford an attorney, you have to request an attorney within 42 days. The court will then appoint you an attorney, provide them with portions of the record and any transcripts needed to assist you with those applications. So, Mr. Butts, you will go with the sheriffs here today. They will make sure that you make your way back to the Wayne County Jail, and ultimately you will find your way to the appropriate Michigan Department of Corrections facility. That being noted, attorneys, is there anything additional for today's record?
Not for the people, Judge.
Not on behalf of the defense, Judge.
All right, we're all going to exit this courtroom in an orderly fashion. You're going to listen to the sheriffs in Brown. They're going to direct traffic with regard to getting out. What I would say is don't move until you're directed to move. Thank you. That'll conclude the record.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.